Do you remember Shakin Stevens? He had a string of solo hits in the 1980s, more top 40 records than any other 80s UK artist, despite having been knocking around as the lead singer of Shakin Stevens in the Sunset since the 1960s. Although punk had seemingly throttled his particular blend of wobbly dancing and somewhat dated rock and roll, a late 70s lead role in a West End musical, playing Elvis Presley no less, propelled Shaky on his bandy-leg journey to the top. But for somebody whose music was so grounded in an anachronistic sound, it's rather unexpected to discover that Shaky, real name Michael the Parrot Barrett, was something of a multimedia pioneer, one of the first popular musicians, before Peter Gabriel, before David Bowie, before Aphex Twin, at bringing music together with interactive entertainment, in the form of The Shaky Game, a full Sinclair Spectrum 4.8K computer program crowbarred in at the end of his 1983 album The Bop Won't Stop. Sorry, a Sinclair what?
Hi, this is Shaky. If you've got a Sinclair Spectrum 4.8K computer, why don't you try my game? The program follows shortly. If you haven't, please fast forward to the end of the tape so that you can listen to the album again.
He has a mission for you.
Hi, I'm Shaky. It's late, close to midnight. You have to help me reach the old house of vampires before my fuel runs out. Watch out for the flying bats. They will drive you crazy. You get 3 lives.
In that evocative scene-setting introductory paragraph alone, there are many questions waiting to be answered. Are you Shaky's chauffeur? Or is Shaky the car? Is he some sort of rock and roll transformer? Or did he lend you his fuel? Why is he so possessive about his fuel? Did he refine the oil himself? And why exactly is Shaky so desperate for you both to reach the old house of vampires? Is it to kill them? To be bitten by them? Deliver a package? At no point does Shaky elaborate. But this is Shaky, the Xerox King, and you don't want to disappoint him.
How high can you get in my top 10? Reach the house with as much fuel as possible to get a high score. I'll be satisfied if you get on the chart. But it's raining, and if you reach the house quickly you might win something. Do your best. Give me your heart tonight.
This, and only this, is the way to address Shaky's insatiable desires. It may not please him, but it will at least satisfy him. Also, you might win something if you were to give him your heart tonight, even though it's raining. I can't help but feel there is a subtext here that I'm failing to grasp. Are we to take Shaky's demand for your heart literally? Is he a cannibal or the head of a Welsh vampire coven? Note also the clever way in which Shaky, and we must assume that Shaky has written this message himself, weaves the titles of several of his biggest hits into the text. It's late, this old house, drive me, you, crazy, watch out for the flying bats, you get 3 lives, and don't let my fuel run out. And here's the game, resplendent in Shaky's trademark denim blue. There was no music at all save for some screeching electronica and jarring beeps, more akin to avant-garde krautrock than Shakin Stevens' Elvis light harmonies. See that your car, or is it Shaky's car, we know at least that it contains his fuel, is trapped in a maze. How did it get in there? Like so much to do with the Shaky game, this is never adequately explained. Perhaps you're a prisoner of Shaky, forced to endure some sick and twisted game at his behest. Those blobs, they're the bats. There are 2 of them. Don't get bitten or they'll drive you crazy. Perhaps by giving you Ebola. Also, your lives are represented by these realistic depictions of Shakys. Why is Shaky losing a life every time you're bitten by a bat? Are you driving the car, or is Shaky driving the car, or are you linked symbiotically? Either somebody hasn't thought any of this through properly, or it's just a slapdash load of old guff. There are but 2 controls, move the car in or out of the maze. There's no reversing, no 3-point turns, just continuing onwards, ever onwards until death. The bats never deviate from their path, there's no randomisation or AI controlling their movements, and thus the Shaky game becomes a battle against tedium as you learn their moves like some proto-version of Dark Souls. Here's the message Shaky has for you if you manage to reach the old house of vampires.
You're at the old house,
he says, with something approaching searing accuracy. But wait, you're at the old house, not we're? Is he in the car or not? Unfortunately, Shaky values punctuality over almost everything else. If you don't make it to the old house of vampires within Shaky's arbitrarily chosen deadline,
you have run out of time, Shake-On.
Whatever that might mean. Success brings its own reward. If you manage to please Shaky, that reward is getting to do it all over again. The bats continue on their way exactly as before. Never more than 2, never less, never changing their path. Reaching the old house of vampires with plenty of time to spare brings great joy to Shakin Stevens and bestows upon you a place in his top 10 and a gold or silver disc, presumably from his own collection. Admittedly, getting to Shaky's top 10 and being given one of his cast-off discs might not seem like much of a prize, but let's remember that when you were first addressed by Shaky here, he said you might win something, not that you definitely would. All this repetition might indicate the Shaky game is a short-lived experience, but the inclusion of 5 difficulty modes will ensure you'll be playing Shaky's game for literally minutes more. Rather than go to the effort of programming more bats and giving them different randomised paths, Olympic Software, whoever they are, simply up the difficulty by increasing the speed, so much so that level 1, the fastest level obviously, is literally unplayable. Remember all those other great games made by Olympic Software? No, you don't. I've spent at least 10 minutes looking online and Olympic Software never made any other games as far as I can tell. Speaking at the time, one Olympic Software team member, Robert No, probably not that one, Wyatt, admitted,
"We thrashed out the idea with the record company over a couple of lunches. It was a hell of a rushed job. We had to finish it in 7 weeks. Getting it bug-free in that time was a real headache."
Sadly, despite the inclusion of this remarkable travesty, the bot Won't Stop failed to perform as well as its predecessors, only making it to number 21 in the UK charts, in spite of spawning a couple of top 10 hit singles. Still, while Shaky may have been wedded to his own particular blend of vintage Welsh rhythm and blues, and been desperately unable to stop the bot from occurring, at least we now know that he was at the cutting edge of interactive entertainment. Shaky!